Hello, everyone. Seems like we're missing a few people. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Lydia, if you'll please do the mandala for us.
Hello, dear Lama Sumati, of course. Вот огромная земля, наполненная ароматами благовоний, укрытая покрывалом из цветов. Великая гора, 4 континента, украшенные драгоценными камнями, солнцем и луной. В своем сознании вижу их храм Будды и подношу их все тебе. И с этим деянием пусть каждое живое существо ощутит чистый мир. И дам Гуру Ратна Мандала Камьятаями.
Okay, and Svetlana, if you'll give us the refuge, please.
I go for refuge until I achieve total enlightenment to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened sight of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings, from the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with understanding of emptiness, patience with understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom. May I reach the state of a Buddha for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I reach total enlightenment to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened sight of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings, from the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with understanding of emptiness, patience with understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom. May I reach the state of a Buddha for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha. I go for refuge until I reach total enlightenment to the Buddha, compassion, knowledge, and strength, the Dharma, the enlightened sight of truth, and the Sangha, the community of realized beings. From the virtuous merit I create from the practice of giving with understanding of emptiness, moral discipline with understanding of emptiness, patience with understanding of emptiness, joyous effort with understanding of emptiness, concentration and wisdom, I will reach the state of a Buddha for the sake of every living being.
Yay. Okay, well, we're missing some students. Well, we'll go ahead and start. It's disappointing that people are not coming to class on time, but not much I can do about it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, review of class 3. There's a lot of stuff we cover in class 3, so the review's not going to be very long. What is this? Why is the study? Well, let's back up one. Oh, come on. Why is the study of quality and characteristics vital for those who wish to see emptiness directly? Go ahead, Lydia.
Due learning Chedrak, we can understand how lower reality works. So we can understand that our world is consist of mental images made by our karma. So, and this experience Chuchok will lead us to the emptiness experience, direct perception of emptiness.
Good. In a few words, that's very good. Yes. Okay. So, we're going to go through some definitions and things today. Then we're going to do some more debate. So, definition of a cause. Anything which brings about another thing. That's kind of weird definition, but there are 3 synonyms. Result. Anything that is a result is also a working thing and a cause. A working thing, anything that performs a function, must be both a result and a cause. Now, how can it be both a result and a cause? We'll talk about that in a little bit. but not at the same time. It can be a result and a cause, but not at the same moment, same instant. Every cause must be both a working thing and a result. Anything that is a result is also a working thing, hence a cause for something else. Anything that performs a function must be both a result and a cause. Consider the flame of a butter lamp. Its last moment is the cause for darkness. When it goes out, darkness appears. Is the last moment of flame a result? Yes, the flame of the moment before. So this is all just definitions we need to be aware of when we start using these words in our debate and our discussion about reality. So 3 types of causes. There's a direct cause. The pen of the moment before is a direct cause of the pen of this moment. Okay. Indirect cause. The pen of a moment prior to that, i.e. the pen of the moment before the present moment. Anything that is a result is also a working thing, hence the cause for something else. Anything that performs a function must be both a result and a cause. Consider the flame of a butter lamp. Oh, we did that already. Material cause and contributing factor. This is a direct and indirect, and then material cause. And material cause and contributing factors are easy to switch. A water pitcher is made by a person, but the clay is the material cause, the stuff that becomes the water pitcher. The potter is a contributing factor. So material cause, anything which brings about something else primarily as a continuation for the same stuff. A seed is a material cause for a plant because the seed contains the chemicals that will grow into a plant. Water, sunlight, etc. are part of the contributing factors because they're not actually part of the plant, but you can't find sunlight, get a piece of sunlight in a plant, but you can get a piece of wood from a plant. So one's a material cause, what the plant's made of, and the other is a contributing factor, which contributes to the plant growing. If your parents' mental material was a material cause of your mind would automatically share the qualities of their mind, which it doesn't. Now that's odd because my father was a biochemist, I was a plant biochemist, and I was a plant biochemist. So one could argue that my dad's mind, brain, whatever, mental material was actually part of mine. But that's just coincidence. It's not true. Contributing factor. The contributing factor from the first moment in your mind, in your mother's womb, are your parents, the sperm, the blood, the fact that they had sexual relations. That's a contributing factor. One of the proofs for past and future lives is there must have been a moment of consciousness prior to this life that turned into the first moment of your mind in your mother's womb. You can trace your thought back logically to the first conscious moment in the womb, then look for the thing that flopped over from the bardo, and that's into your first moment of consciousness, and that's your mind. So we have cause, we just talked about cause, We have definition of a result. I just thought, I forgot to do rejoicing. We'll do that at the end of class. Anything brought back by another thing is the definition of a result. Two types of relationships between objects. This is important. As one of identity, this is a relationship between a quality and a characteristic. A motor vehicle and car. To be a car is to be a motor vehicle. But to be one is to be the other automatically. A motor vehicle can be a car. It doesn't have to be a car. It can be a car. The test for this relationship of identity is to remove one, the other also must disappear. If you remove all motor vehicles, all cars disappear. But if you remove all cars, not all motor vehicles disappear. So it's a one-way relationship. Cause and effect. Normally one-way relationship. If you remove the cause, then you automatically remove the result. If you remove the result, the cause could have still occurred. If you remove the tree, do you remove the seed? It's already gone. So logic school has a problem with some of this. We're talking about, we're going to use the highest school for our needs. According to Madhyamika Prasangika, in terms of naming and identifying the cause as a cause, its result must also exist. So they would consider cause and effect to be two-way. The result depends on the cause, but the cause, in order to be a cause, requires its result to have also occurred. So let's go through that again. In terms of naming and identifying the cause as a cause, its result must also exist. So they would consider cause and effect to be a two-way. The result depends on the cause, but the cause, in order to be a cause, requires the result to occur. These two possibilities of relationships, or no relationship at all, occur between every pair of objects in the universe, and that's what we call dependent origination. There are only three possibilities for every pair of objects in the universe. Every pair of objects in the universe. They'll either be in a relationship of identity, in a relationship of cause and effect, or be in no relationship at all. Cause and effect according to Madhyamika Prasangika. The logic school considers cause and effect to be a one-way relationship. However, one of the proofs for emptiness is the fact that there is never a moment when the cause and the effect are both existing at the same time. They may exist one right after the other, but they don't exist at the same time. So it's impossible that a cause can bring about a result independent of your projections. There is never an instant where the seed becomes a tree self-existently. And we can prove that by saying that if you take a seed and just sit it on a shelf, it doesn't become a tree. If it was self-existently could become a tree, then it shouldn't matter what you do, it'll become a tree on its own. And it doesn't and will not. Similarly, when the last moment of your mind in the bardo flops over in the first moment of your mind in the womb, there is never a self-existent point in time where the previous mind caused the latter moment of mind. That's important to really think about that. There is never a self-existent point in time where the previous mind caused the latter moment of mind. This is evidence that there is no external reality out there, and these things are merely coming from your mind. So let's go through that one more time. The last moment of your mind in the intermediate state between, and in the barda, flops over to the first moment of your mind in the womb. There's never a self-existent point in time when the previous mind caused the latter moment of mind. If there was a self-existent point, it wouldn't change and it wouldn't happen. So there can't be a self-existent point. According to Madhyamika Prasangika, your rebirth, the growth of a tree and a sunrise are all projections of your mind. They don't have any self-existent reality independent of your projections. However, these projections, which your karma is forcing you to see, function quite well. It is incorrect to say that these things, the sun, etc., are not real because they are only projections. These things are real because they are projections. When you die of cancer, it'll be real because your mind projects it as real. So, back to debate. I never thought I'd be happy to get back to debate, but I am. Okay, a correct reason. Consider sounds. They are changing things because they are made. A reason. It can mean three things. The whole three-part logical statement above. The reason because they are made. The thing mentioned in the reason being a made thing. Definition of a reason is anything you put forth as a reason. To qualify as a reason, it doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't even have to make sense. That's the whole idea of debate. Your reason could be something completely stupid. And so you're helping the individual understand the ridiculousness of your reason. And that helps them understand the point of the debate. A correct reason, it can refer to any of the three meanings of a correct reason above. You must learn to give correct reasons that are logical and correct in order to prove the truths of Buddhism to yourself, and then be able to prove things to others by using only concepts that your audience accepts. So why do we care about all these relationships between causes, identities, etc.? Well, here's why. Do cars and Chevrolets exist at the same time? Yes. Chevrolets and cars. There are cars that are Chevrolets. So that's okay. Does a seed and a tree it produce exist at the same time? No. We know it's going to produce a tree, but the seed that produced the tree is gone when the tree is growing. By the time the seed is gone. When does a seed become a tree? That's a big debate. Master Nagarjuna talks about stopping and staying. One of the proofs of emptiness is when you go looking for the exact moment that a seed becomes a sprout, or the sprout a seedling, or a seedling into a tree, you'll never find the exact moment because you can always divide the moment into smaller and smaller parts. So you can never say when stopping or staying. If it's like the tortoise and the hare, you take individual moments of time and analyze them, and it can always be a smaller and smaller division of time. So you can never really find, when I start moving, you can't define when I started moving because you say it was the first second. Well, there's a beginning of the first second, the second, and the end of the second. And you can keep dividing into parts. You can't really narrow down when I started. So why do I start? Why do I move? Because I have the karma to move, not because I self-existently move. You are projecting it all based on past karma, no external reality other than that projected by our minds. We tend to think that if that's true, things are only our projections. If things are only our projections, then they aren't real. Madhyamika Prasangika says things are real because they are projections. Now, that's something we can accept, but do we really accept it? And only you can answer that question. Okay, so let's go through the three parts of the syllogism, they call it. Consider sounds, they are changing things because they are made. Okay, what do we know? If the reason is correct, these three conditions must hold true. The relationships between the reason and the subject must hold. Does number 3, the reason, apply to number 1, the subject? Consider sounds because they are made. Yeah, sounds are made. So 1 and 3, that's true. Sounds are made. Being a made thing applies to sound. There's positive necessity between the reason and the quality to be proven. If 3, the reason is true, then 2, the quality must be true. For example, if it's made, it's a changing thing. So that's true. If a sound is made, there is a changing thing. So that's true. So 1 and 3 is true. 3 then 2 is true. Now, not 3, not true, 2 is the tough one to remember. Negative necessity. If 2, the quality is not true, then 3, the reason cannot be true. For example, if something is unchanging, so assertion, they are not a changing thing, which would then imply they are unchanging. And then number 3, they are not made. If something is unchanging, it can't be a thing which is made. So, the negative of 2 and 3 makes sense. 1 and 3 compare favorably, and 3 and 2 compare favorably. So, the reason is valid. Consider sounds, they are changing things because they are made. There are three responses, objections to the correct statement in debate. Your reason is incorrect. For example, sounds are not made. Yes, they are made, so your reason is incorrect. It doesn't necessarily follow. Your reason doesn't hold. Sounds are changing things because they exist. Not everything that exists is a changing thing. You return a sarcastic, absurd statement. For example, the attacker says, consider sounds. They are changing things because they exist. To this incorrect reason, you sarcastically respond, oh, I guess emptiness is a changing thing, because emptiness also exists. And your reason claims that things that exist are changing. So this is where you have to be pretty quick and having basic definitions ready to go. You're pointing out a necessary absurd consequence to his incorrect statement. This way of responding, which points out the fallacy in your opponent's thinking, and the opponents can, this way that the opponent can be led to a correct understanding of emptiness through hearing this kind of sarcastic response. So you could say, are you telling me? And there's the Tibetan, which we aren't really utilizing. So objects and subjects. And a subject is what possesses an object. Buddhist psychology is covered with this within this topic. This class only touched on the basics. It's important for understanding emptiness clearly, specifically the idea that a person merges with the emptiness they are perceiving. This is a popular but ridiculous idea because a person is a changing positive object and emptiness is an unchanging negative thing. And absence, negative and absence. I like absence. I don't like negative. So objects, anything which can be apprehended by a valid perception. Nearly every perception you have is valid, meaning that given the information you have, your perceptions are reasonable. Perceptions are not valid when you are drunk, overcome by emotion, on a moving train, etc. Madhyamaka school says that every perception you have ever had until you see emptiness directly has been valid but incorrect, meaning that your perception doesn't match the real nature of the objects, their emptiness. Perceptions can be valid but incorrect. And it's important to remember that too. Three synonyms for object. All objects in the world, any existing thing, and anything you can perceive with your mind. These three things are synonyms. They all mean everything that exists. Every existing thing in the universe is an object of someone's mind. A Buddha can see all the cosmic dust drifting around the universe, so it exists. Two types of objects. All objects can be divided into two types, working things and unchanging things, or changing and unchanging things, which we discussed a couple of classes ago. Every object must be a thing which is either a working, changing, produced, made, caused, or unchanging thing. That's just period. It's either a changing thing or an unchanging thing. There's no third ground. All existing things. Okay, this is the chart I did before. I wanted to go through this again for two reasons. One, I spent a lot of time building it, and two, I think if you can keep this in your mind when you're debating or when you're doing a reading, it will help tremendously. So, all existing things, anything perceived by a valid perception not influenced by drugs, alcohol, or optical illusion. It's either unchanging. An example of an unchanging thing would be emptiness. It's changing. changing things come in three different flavors. They're physical. An example would be matter. Conceptual, a person. And mental, happiness. Okay. An unchanging thing, an existing thing that is not changing instantaneously, but is not permanent. As long as the pen exists, its emptiness is 100%. When the pen no longer exists, neither does its emptiness. A changing thing, that which only lasts for an instant, changing instantaneously. A working thing or functioning thing. A physical, anything composed of atomic particles. Mental, a mental thing is invisible and aware. We confuse mental things with physical matter upon which they seem to relate. Like the brain, point to our brain when we say think, but mind cannot be located or touched. Concept is an active thing. Person is a concept which cannot be touched like the body or irritated like the mind. So that's why it's that's why there are three possible changing things. Unchanging is sometimes translated as permanent. Unchanging thing, which means it will last forever and never stop. However, Takpa could be translated as unchanging rather than permanent, because emptiness, which is a classic example of Takpa, or unchanging, is not permanent. An object's emptiness does not diminish gradually, but it does diminish. So it's not permanent. Changing things, vitakpa, that which only lasts for an instant. This is a correct definition of a changing thing. So the reason we had to put an existing thing for emptiness was because if we don't put existing thing, we could say purple two-headed elephant exists as an unchanging thing, but it doesn't exist. So it can't be an unchanging thing. It has to be an existing thing to be an example of unchanging. So I would take a look at that diagram. You don't have to do it in the animation like I did, but you should be able to think what each of those. So there's changing and unchanging. Example of unchanging, emptiness. Why? Because any existing thing that's not changing instantaneously is an unchanging thing. So boom, you got that. Then you go changing thing. And changing thing can be thought of in three different ways. Physical, mental, and conceptual. So you gotta have that. If you don't, these arguments and these debates can be very confusing because you have to go back and think about it. Gotta be up there right away. Okay. Now, let's do our rejoicing. This is a very short class. Let's do some rejoicing. Daria, what do you have to rejoice in this morning? Or this evening?
One Sumati. I rejoice. First today I stopped my perfect angry and jealous for somebody, something, and I think about pen, thought about pen, and sometimes I think, okay, Lama Sumati said this, okay, stopped. And I did a sojong, and I promised I study 21 Tarot, and I started to write this and try to study English, Tibetan, and Russian next
Wow.
sojourn. I don't know how, but
Wow. I'm impressed.
I promise. I promise.
I'm impressed. That's truly amazing. Good for you. Okay. Anna, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, dear
I
Lama.
can't hear you.
English channel, please.
Oh, maybe I'm not on. Hang on, that's my fault. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hello, dear Lama Sumati. Hello, everyone. About my rejoicing. Today I spent near 2 hours with my karmic partner, and we were discussing different ideas from our teachings, and also support each other with our difficulties. It was very useful and very warm time for me. And I'm very glad that I have so nice friend with whom I can talk about all these ideas, and that we found time for our meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Lydia. What do you have to rejoice
Holy Lama, may I ask a question? A short
Sure.
question. I wonder, we talked about dunches last time,
in? Yeah.
mental images. And should we include dunchi in all existing things? So at this diagram,
Hmm.
like in unchanging things?
Well, Dunchi's, that's a good question, Lydia. Let's see. Dunchi is the mental. I think Dunchi's change. I don't think Dunchi's would be considered unchanging things, because my mental image of the Eiffel Tower could be at night, during the day, could be during a rainstorm. So a dunshi of the Eiffel Tower would be, well, dunshi is something we've seen before and we know about. So I don't think they're unchanging.
But we can include dunchi in all existing things, right? Because
Yes.
they exist.
Yeah.
Because
They
of
exist, but
karma.
not. Yeah. There you go. Right.
Okay, thank you very
Good.
much. And my rejoice, yesterday I went to my father's birthday
Oh.
to another city. And in Russia, we have lack of gasoline right now.
Oh.
And I couldn't find any gasoline at my father's city, or or there were lots of people. Yes, lots of people. It could take me 1 or 2 hours, or maybe 3, to take gasoline. And I saw a miracle yesterday. Some person gave me 10 liters of gasoline not far from my house. So my father just asked some person if he had gasoline, and that person said, yes, I have, I can share. So of course I paid for this, but for me it was really
No,
Buddha.
that is a miracle. And
So
I hope you dedicated it right away, because that's very, very powerful. Wow.
yeah, and I was rejoicing that this person, if he's not a Buddha, but I think he was, but if he's not, he planted good seeds, and my
Oh,
father also planted good seeds. So yes, and I dedicated.
good. Very good. Wow. Yeah, it's good to think that. In a sense, thinking that's a miracle, knowing It's believing and knowing it's a miracle. See, that to me is what makes life fun. Someone can say, oh, well, yeah, he's a dealer. He has this in his garage. Yeah. Or you can go, that's a miracle. It's much more fun to say it's a miracle. And it's, as I think I've shared before, I thank you for sharing that with us. I don't usually share miracles with many people because it's been my experience that most people will go, and this didn't happen to me with Buddhists. That's not a miracle. That's just coincidence. And that's no fun because the minute someone says that to you, it takes the miracle you think it was down to where you go, well, maybe it wasn't a miracle. There's nothing wrong with thinking it's a miracle. That's a very powerful way to look at life. So, yay, you had a miracle, gasoline miracle. Okay, Svetlana, what do you have to rejoice in? Well, hello. Yoo-hoo. She must be eating dinner. I must have bored her to tears and she's asleep. Well, I'm going to do my rejoicing then. What do I have to rejoice in? I'm trying to think over yesterday. My back exercises seem to maybe be working, so I'm going to continue doing them. I'm rejoicing that I'm coming to grips that we're probably going to move, and I need to start thinking about what if we move to Armenia, which is a possibility. That's a long way from this house, and I'm not going to be able to take the same kind of material or quantity of material that I would take if we moved to Mexico. So I need to start thinking about what I absolutely need and what I can live without. And then I need to find out how long it would take and how much it would cost to ship it to Armenia. So rather than these being daunting things I don't want to do, I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance we're going to move, so I better get my act together and figure out how much this is going to cost. It may be cheaper to buy my computer monitors in Armenia than it is to ship them. If that's true, I need to figure out who I'm going to give them to. So, all these little things that mount up to a decision process. So that's it for me. I guess Svetlana is otherwise occupied. Well, let's dedicate, and we'll see everybody on. Now, Monday will be the last class because of, not the last, we won't, we'll teach Monday's class, and we won't teach next Thursday or Monday or Friday's class. So we're going to be off for a couple of weeks. Some of us are going to be in Malaysia. Please send me a postcard from Malaysia. I like getting postcards. Where is the teaching going to be? In Singapore?
Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur.
Not in the direct Kuala Lumpur, but not far from the center.
Have you gone up that building that's got the bridge between the two buildings? Oh, when we were in KL, we went up there, and we really enjoyed Kuala Lumpur. It was quite pleasant. We drove from Penang, where our students. Jim, have you met Choi and GL yet? No,
Julia?
you. I don't know. I can't pronounce her name. We call her GL and Choi. Anyway,
I don't know.
yeah, we had a very nice stay in Malaysia. I really enjoyed it. If it was more conducive to move to, we'd seriously think moving to Malaysia. But it's not easy to get residency and stuff like that. So, okay, let's dedicate. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow, and may that born have no decline but increase forevermore. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. Okay. Well, we'll see some of you tomorrow. We'll see whoever shows up on Monday. Have a good weekend. Have fun. Practice the Dharma. And eat something tasty for me. Okay. Bye-bye.
Sumati,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Could I ask you a little?
Okay.
I ask about dedication. For me, it's very difficult to do it. How to do a dedication?
What do you mean it's difficult?
I don't. I think it's so. I did something and I do
Why you do
dedication.
dedication?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
You dedicate because in the Buddhist teachings that I've read, when you dedicate it towards your future enlightenment, that protects it from being harmed by a bad deed. For instance, if you're a bodhisattva, you protect it from being damaged by getting angry at another bodhisattva.
Mm-hmm.
So things that can wipe out your root of virtue, that's, if you dedicate it, that protects that good deed, that merit, from being negated by something that eliminates your root of virtue. You're trying to collect merit, and to collect merit, you've got to protect it from things that would destroy merit. So the way to do it is by dedicating protects it from being destroyed by other influences. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Holy Lama, I just would like to correct myself. It's Malacca city in Malaysia. I've just checked.
Oh.
It's not far from Kuala Lumpur.
Right, Malacca. There's a Straits of Malacca, which is a very important battle, naval battle in World War II. But that's another story. I know I associate many things in other countries with war for some strange reason. So, okay. Well, take care. I see some late arrivers. Hi, Anna. We're just about ready to finish class. I am working on a response to your question, and I appreciate the thoroughness with which you asked it. That's impressive. You're thinking this. You're trying to work with this material, and I'm really impressed by that. We'll figure something out.
I'm sorry, I'm working now. I cannot speak.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day.